into a wrestling match with the judge, like in the case of Sidney Newsom, who is facing a domestic violence charge in Pike County Justice Court in Mississippi. Southern District Judge Aubrey Rhymes was presiding over the hearing. Newsom initially seemed to be in a good mood as he reviewed some papers. But altercation with officer seemed to agitate him. Newsom was then asked to sign.
He's probably pissed off because he's like, girl, you got a big old booty. And she's like, don't fucking talk to me.
Some papers.
Seems like he doesn't handle
the officer presented to Judge Rhymes.
See, he's looking at her ass.
However, Newsom was not ready to rest his case. He furiously argued with Judge Rhymes, who promptly asked the officer to remove him from the court. As he was being led from the courtroom, Newsom lost it.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
First, he grabbed a stack of papers and threw it at Judge Rhymes. The officer tried to subdue him, but Newsom managed to overpower her.
It's a female officer.
He then threw a telephone at the judge.
Oh my God. Jesus.
This is when the judge decided to take matters into his own hands. As Newsom threw more paper at him, Judge Rhymes single-handedly pinned him to the table. Eventually, backup arrived.
There you go. Get the big boy out.
Newsom was restrained and taken from the courtroom. He faced additional charges for contempt of court and served 48 hours in prison.
That's it? That's it? Couldn't at least give him a fucking week? I mean, come on. At least give him a week. Maybe he'll learn from that. 48 hours?
Sidney Newsom's courtroom antics were definitely crazy, but how does it compare to headbutt police officer? Like in the case of Daniel Stewart Berry, who's facing robbery charges in Mississippi. Reports suggest that 21-year-old Daniel allegedly robbed a store where he leapt over the counter, put a female clerk in a headlock, and grabbed $20 from the open cash register. Daniel, a business major student, was arrested and charged with 1 count of strong-armed robbery. But when Daniel was being taken to court, he totally lost it.
What's up? You. Yeah.
Jeez.
Daniel cursed and headbutted a sheriff's deputy, breaking his nose. He was quickly carried off and detained.
You got no shoes on?
The sheriff said Daniel was under the influence of drugs and had also assaulted a jail worker the previous night.
I don't know what this is or how much he's taken or whatever, but we'll have to get him evaluated by a doctor, but we've got to determine a safe way to do it for the doctor.
Question, where did he get the drugs? Because, I mean, he was obviously dressed out and in shackles, so he had been there at least 24 hours. So where did he get the drugs? Maybe you have a bigger problem in the jail.
Doctor, and for him and for us.
He faced additional charges of assaulting a law enforcement officer. His bond was set at $200,000. However, whatever a man can do, a woman can do better. Like in the case of Melissa Hardwick, who was in Russell and Wayne County Family Court in Kentucky for a domestic violence hearing. Melissa's ex-husband had filed a domestic violence order against her.
Your statements in your petition as part of your testimony, but I need you to tell me briefly, in your own words, what happened to cause you to ask for a domestic violence order.
Yes, Your Honor. Things have been escalating, I guess, since the first of the year, and Melissa's had a couple MIWs and a couple arrests, and she got out of jail in, I guess, April, and she started, we hadn't really had anything personal up until that point. She got out of jail in April.
He was explaining the situation when suddenly Melissa erupted.
My personal life is
No.
your business, John. It has nothing to do with
Miss
you
Hardwick?
boys. No.
You will be held in contempt of this court if you become disruptive.
I don't care. I haven't done anything to this court. I haven't done anything to him.
She will be arrested for
It
contempt of
doesn't
court.
make any difference.
You will serve 10 days for contempt of court.
She was arrested for contempt and sentenced to 10 days in jail. This is when things got crazy.
Go now.
Dude, it's contempt. You'll probably be out in 3, even though they say 10. Calm your tits.
Melissa leapfrogged towards the judge, but thankfully, court deputies stopped her just in time. However, that did not stop her verbal threats.
Well, now you're going to have assault and other charges, so now you really are going to spend more time in jail.
Wait and see. Get my bracelet off the floor.
Melissa faced additional criminal charges for her antics.
A new judge will have to be appointed to represent because she will be charged criminally for the threats that were made in open court today.
Eventually,
Yeah, and considering you're the victim, that means you have to recuse yourself.
Melissa was sentenced to 120 days in prison for her outburst, while Melissa Hardwick got off easy for her antics.
It would have been jail, not prison, I believe, because prison's normally like a year or more, I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. And every state's different.
Is it compared to punching someone out of the blue, like in the case of Christopher Teal, who was in the King County courtroom facing sexual assault charges in Seattle, Washington?
Yeah. He's probably homeless.
Reports suggest that Teal, a homeless man, followed a woman inside a restroom at a Volkswagen dealership and assaulted her.
That's fucked up, man. Oh my God. Okay, new rule. If this happens and the person is found guilty, yes, they should sit in jail, but I think that we have the right to just chop it off at this point. You forfeit your right to have that appendage, and now you get to identify as a woman.
He was arrested after company employees barged in.
Oh my God, he does look like a Temu Charles Manson. Holy shit.
And stopped the attack. Teal was charged with first-degree sexual assault and unlawful imprisonment. He appeared in court for a competency hearing represented by his lawyer, Reed Birkland. As the hearing began,
dude, the lawyer looks kind of like Gavin Newsom. It's a little creepy.
Teal seemed amused and raised his arm towards Birkland before being stopped by a court officer.
Mr. Teal's present. He's in custody. He's represented by counsel, Mr. Birkland.
Then suddenly, without provocation, Teal snapped.
Standing from his counsel, who I'll defer to in a moment, that they are now stipulating that Mr.
Out of nowhere, Teal punched his own lawyer. Luckily, the police quickly managed to subdue him.
What is with people punching their lawyer? Is it just, are they mad that their lawyer couldn't come up with enough of a defense because they did such a stupid and obvious crime? Maybe the problem isn't the lawyer. Maybe the problem is the fact that you broke the fucking law.
Put your hand behind your back now.
A spit hood was placed over his head, and Teal was removed from the courtroom. Birkland was unhurt in the incident, barring his pride. He promptly withdrew from the case.
And watch, by the way, this is Seattle. It's Kings County. I know it's Seattle. So when it comes down to it, this guy's probably gonna get like 6 months in jail. Watch. Them liberal asses, they don't give a flying fuck. They feel more bad for him because he's homeless. They don't care that he committed a crime. They feel bad because he's homeless.
Regarding the Christopher Teal matter. No. Okay. I have a question though. Are you running a diminished capacity or insanity or anything of that nature?
I don't have anything to talk about.
The next time Teal appeared in court, the officers ensured he wouldn't be punching anyone. Teal was seen heavily strapped to a chair. However, he still had one complaint. Teal's biggest concern was how his hair looked in his mugshot.
I'd like to know where the they got that photo of me with my short hair. Because that was on Facebook, and I don't have a Facebook.
All right.
So you're on the legitimate question.
Wait, did he just say that photo's from Facebook and he doesn't have a Facebook? So why would it be on Facebook if he doesn't have one? I don't know. But anyways, I think he was just pissed off at the fact that he didn't look crazy enough.
Do they have access to Google?
The judge scheduled another hearing in a week's time. Eventually, Teal was sentenced to 8.5 years in prison. While Teal's reaction could certainly be dismissed as a mental health.
Yeah, 8.5 years in prison, and watch, they'll like let him out after 60 days or some shit. Oh, it's mental health. We feel bad for him. He's homeless. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.